So we got to get to this. So Delta, I'm sure you've seen a couple episodes of these shows. I know you saw the first one with Pink.
Yeah,
We're
I've
gonna
seen all of
start.
them. I've watched them all on YouTube. So yeah,
Love it.
oh yeah,
Love it. So
love it.
we're gonna start same way we do every time. Why don't you give us a story about how you went from D to at 1 Delta Street?
Well, from the start, before I became a streamer, I wanted to be a YouTuber. I was working 3 jobs in 3 different bars obviously as a bartender, and I was working 85 hours a week. And I wanted to be big on YouTube. And then I started off as corrosive. That was what it was. But then I didn't have any time because I was working 3 jobs. But later on, the idea of being able to do something after I've just got myself one full-time job, the idea of being able to do something like that was always with me. So I did invest in like a Elgato capture card and like 2 screens to start off. And I became AGR Delta. Me and my friends, we made a clan which was based on Tom Clancy's The Division, and we play other clans on Facebook. And then I started streaming just on Twitch, just so that other clans could see me, like our team beat up everybody.
Oh,
And
sure, yeah.
then that was when Twitch was the default app on Xbox, and then when it became Beam, that's where I started to stream there. But I wasn't really,
Yep.
I had no idea what streaming really entailed or what it was. It was just I would go live whenever I wanted, no schedule, no nothing, just whenever I wanted. And then it came from that to watching streamers actually spending time on the platform. And then I started watching King Bailey Bomb at the time. I had never seen any streamer be so explosive, energetic, enthusiastic, and caring being the important part of his community. And I started to see names pop up, donations pop up, like names, like alerts on screens. I had no idea what that was about. I'm like, I asked him, and without any hesitation, he gave me all the answers to my questions within seconds, and treated me like I had been there for years and I'd only been there for 2 weeks, sort of thing.
Wow.
And I'm like, I want to be like that. I want that. He's got the same energy as me. He's very enthusiastic and outgoing, and that's what I want. I can do something with this. So I took his advice, and like I'd obviously messaged him and took his advice and started streaming to a schedule and staying disciplined to the schedule. I started thinking of my stream as a TV show, which has always been the best foundation of my content. Think of it as a
Yep.
TV show. People watch Netflix, they subscribe to Netflix so they can watch it. So having why is streaming different? So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to stay to a strict schedule, Monday to Friday, or whatever days off I take.
Right.
And I needed a name that people recognize. At the time I had left AGR, and I was like LOL Delta LOL, which is very hard to search for when you're trying to play follower games, because you need to explain to your audience that the O is the number 0 and the L is a capital I. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not marketable. So how 1 Delta Street came about is me and my girlfriend, we were driving through Glasgow, like a city in Scotland, and I just seen a street sign, and I'm like, what about Delta Street? Because my name is D in real life, so I
Yep.
want to keep it like phonetic alphabet, and the Delta had to stick. And I'm like, Delta Street, and then we tried to search for it on Mixer and uh, Xbox at the same time, so that it was
Yep.
both available, but it wasn't. So then 1 Delta Street was a suggestion, and I said it out loud, and I'm like, okay. And my girlfriend said it as well. She says, that's it, right there, 1 Delta Street. And then ever since then, I've just
There it
started
is.
growing. Yeah. So I started off playing PUBG. That was my main game, and taking advice from King Bailey Bomb, stand out from other streamers. Other people who are playing streaming the same games as you. How do you stand out? So I started off wearing the level 3 helmet from the character wears in PUBG, and then a white shirt and tie.
No
That
kidding.
was Yeah, but like at the time, the hype zone was a big thing on Mixer. It was new.
Yes.
Anytime you were at the end of a game of a battle royale on in PUBG,
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of viewers would come in, and that was your moment to shine. So, in my mind, when people come into my stream, how are they going to remember me? Bang, they're going to see that somebody dressed up as the player from PUBG, and then I was being silly and things like that. And I
Yeah.
actually started with an American accent. I don't know if I think you know this, but I used
You
to
started
stream.
streaming with an American accent?
I streamed for 2 years. It was only like last month, maybe 2 months ago, I started using my normal accent, because
Really?
as a new up and coming streamer, when when you've got your viewer display up, and then there's 0 viewers, and then there's 2 people left, it went back to 0, because they would not really understand what I was saying. It's not an insult, it's just it is what
Sure.
it is. It was a language
Sure.
barrier. It's not offending me. So we started streaming with an American accent every single time we went live, just
Wow.
like this, for 2 freaking years, getting hyped, getting all ready to go, and then boom, people they loved it. They came back, they got involved, and then Scottish accent just came back 2
How
weeks ago,
did you teach
2 months ago.
yourself an American accent?
Just watch a lot of films,
Just
mate.
watch just watch just watch a lot
just,
of
just watching the right films, but I so that actually helped
because
me a
I
lot.
could not do yours, I'll be honest.
Do it.
Not a
Well,
chance.
try it. Just freedom.
Freedom. Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
a generous 4 out of 10, but
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
um,
No, that
but
is but you felt like a barrier, at least in the beginning, was just they just couldn't that you didn't feel like
yeah,
the understanding was easier. It wasn't, you were having a hard time communicating with the viewership right away.
exactly,
Okay.
and that's key. Like a lot of people from the UK who watch me, then I would not pretend to be an American. I would explain that I am Scottish, doing an American accent, so people could understand me easier. So
Sure.
for a long
Sure.
time, my viewer base was from the States, so we kept it going, and it kind of became a niche. A lot of people didn't like it and thought it was silly, which is very understandable. But it became a niche through Mixer. You always so I'm
Yeah.
like, Delta, is that Scottish guy, man? He does a crazy ass accent too. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, hello.
Absolutely.
But it worked. And then now
100%.
I can actually use my normal accent, and people have already stuck around and they know me for me. And then the people before who didn't really like the American accent thing, they're they're coming into the channel now. It's like, yo, I love that. I just think it's so much better that you're actually being you now. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Sure.
so here I am today, one Delta Street, blessed with
Yeah.
every second they can stream
Yeah.
to still do
Yeah.
this.
You and I have something in common in that we both bartended. And I think it's very clear when watching you do your thing on stream and from even just from like an entertainment standpoint that it's very clear to me that your bar was a good time when you were
Oh,
behind the bar.
oh yeah, yeah. It was a football over in Scotland. Football is a big thing, and the
Okay.
last bar that I worked in was like a football based, like a fan based uh, bar. It was called the Railway Tavern. It's absolutely fantastic place to go if you're ever there. You can thank me for it. But
Yep. Yep.
it's you know yourself, being a bartender, you have to have people skills, you have to have
Yeah.
confidence, and you cannot be a pushover. So
For sure. Yeah.
that's a blessing that I've had. It's an attribute that I can bring to content
Yeah.
creation and be very comfortable with myself. I mean, I'm sure you've been insulted many times by customers because you've either refused service or thrown them out, sort of thing. And being able to take insults, that's a big thing too. You have to have a bit of a thick skin to be able to do this.
Yeah. I mean that was my first thought, right? Is I bet there is no trolls that appear on Mixer that are anything close to a Scottish pub when a football
No,
game's on.
absolutely not. No, I was discussing this today. Like, I'm the kind of person that if somebody tries to troll me, um, at least make it good. Like, and
Sure. Yeah.
if
Fair.
insult me like the same way my friends would insult me in a bar, if they say some like nasty shit, I would congratulate them. Like, that's a good one. And I'll get you a drink. But you can stay as long as
Right.
that's not your overall intent. If you can see that I've resonated that as humor, and then
Sure.
you can get that's what kind of person I am, then by
Sure.
all means you're more than welcome to stay. But that cannot be your objective, and then you will be timed out for 24 hours.
So let's try and build out a timeline here. So when did you start? I mean, you were back when it was Beam.
It was
You
Beam,
were
but I
streaming back when
wasn't.
it was Beam,
Yeah,
and then you kind of got your start. When did you feel like you kind of hit your stride? And then what was that? Kind of take me through really just that partnership process. When did that happen? Where'd you go from there?
I joined during the Beam days, but that's when I made my account. But I wasn't really active on Beam, really.
Sure.
But then once Mixer became a thing, and then I think it was January 2018 is when I started streaming, and that from January 2018 to January 2019. Um, that was the journey when I was not partnered. Like I applied for partnership 3 times. I got rejected 3 times, and it's the best thing. Like at the time, it was like, but
Yeah.
you know what, you learn from
What
it.
were
You
the
need to be.
reasons? Do you remember?
Um, at the time, I think it was overall like you're not ready. It was like a template, like like an automated response sort of thing they would send you. But then the third time that I got rejection, I replied to them and I got in contact and I says, can you point me in the right direction? I need to know what it is that you require from me to do. I want to do this. This is something I believe I would be good at and it'd be a good addition to the partnership program. And then they told me that they love the content, they love the visuals, and it's just a little bit more growth and things like that, and
Yeah.
as overall presence as a
Yeah.
streamer on the platform.
Do you think that more people should do that when they get denied? Because I think what a lot of people do when they get denied is they just take it and they take whatever little generic response that they get, and then they just kind of move forward from there. Do you think that more people should, I mean,
Yeah,
kind of counter and say, ask, like what you did, because what that shows is that you're serious.
yeah.
Would you recommend more people do that?
Of course, because and it's not to offend anybody, but a lot of people are scared to challenge,
100%.
and it's a business. You are pursuing a business opportunity that you
Yes.
have to work at, and in business, you need to have a clear line of communication where it's not personal. You have to have reasons. So I did say it wasn't attacking them. I should be
Right.
partnered. I'm good enough. No, like
Right.
what constructive criticism is a big thing in content creation. If somebody criticizes your work, and it's for constructive purposes, then you have to be able to swallow your pride and take it constructively and work towards what they want you to achieve.
Yeah.
What they want you to do. So yeah, I would say being able to message back and ask, just simply ask, because
Yeah.
a lot of people will take rejection to heart, and it will affect them, and
Right.
that could be a make or break decision in their
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people will look at that and they'll just move on real quick, and it won't be as targeted as
Yeah,
it could be, right? And I've kind of levied my opinion on this show in terms of what I think, the way that I think Mixer kind of evaluates um for on a partnership standpoint. And I want you to share your thoughts too. Like, what do you think, how do you think they go about evaluating a stream, right? Because they looked at you and they said, "Wow, we really like the brand, right? Like this guy's unique. He's done a good job on the branding side. Like he's made him like it's very clear that this is Delta's channel." What do you feel like they're looking for?
see, it's different now because it's the requirements for mixer partnership has changed, and
Sure,
drastically, I'll say as well, it has changed. But I don't really know right at this current stage what they look for in a
sure.
partner, but because there has been people who have been partnered, and there's people who have very successful streams and very good like marketability who have not been partnered, but that's not my business to look into that and why. But um overall, I can say that Mixer looks at everything. They don't just look at how long you're live for. They don't look at how many viewers you have. They look at your brand. They look at your
Hmm.
action on social medias, how active you are, how what your following is in other platforms, how far can you reach to influence people to come to Mixer,
Yes. Yeah.
and your professional conduct. How do you conduct yourself on other platforms? And they look into everything like that. So if anybody is watching and considering partnership down the line, be prepared to work for it. You really need to work for it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think too, and you alluded to something that we're going to touch on in a big way is I mean, Mixer still wants to grow. And so I
Yeah,
think if you can show that you have a presence, not just on Mixer, right? And we're going to talk about that later on in the show, about figuring out ways to bring people to to the service, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that struck me in our pre-show meeting, you kind of dropped it on me, and I was like, "Whoa!" Is I think a lot of people really want to be in your shoes, or a lot of people on here are going for partnership, right?
Oh, I think, but I said that about me. No, but I mean, like, yeah, like,
Right. A lot of people are going for partnership. And I think a lot of people will set a goal, right? They'll set a goal, and then now comes the challenge of, are you okay, that's what you say that you want. You say you want to be a partner, but are you willing to do what's necessary to achieve that? And one of the things that struck me was your daily routine, because I think it's going to surprise a lot of people just how extensive it is. So why don't you walk me through an average day, and then how that translates over a week, in terms of one Delta Street's life.
yeah. Well, you can, as a viewer, and I've done it. I've done it like when I was younger, and you can look at a streamer and say, stereotype them as saying you have the easiest job in the world. You play video
Hmm.
games for a living, and anybody could do that. Well, realistically, if anybody could do it, why isn't streaming, mainstream front page of every magazine on TV shows and sort of thing? So it's not as easy as what you think. The work that goes into it is absolutely ridiculous, and it will stress you out. It brings a lot of anxiety to content creators, and
Yeah.
which involves them and taking time off too, because you do not start with beautiful overlays, 3 screens, and all that good stuff. You
Right.
don't. That has to come later, because you don't even know if streaming is for you. You don't know if you're going to be able to handle streaming 3 months with 0 viewers, 5 viewers, 2 viewers, 10 viewers. So you have
Right.
to work for it. So for
Yeah.
my daily routine is I wake up when my daughter wakes up, I'm awake. My girlfriend is super supportive of this, and she motivates me, encourages me to do better. Um, and I would not be able to do this without the support of my girlfriend.
That's been another common theme on this show is
Yeah.
the unit that you have around the streamer matters, right? Like the system that's around the streamer is so vital.
It's crucial, because if you try to do this passion that you love, which is content creation, then you've got your significant other stressing you out, trying to to pull you away from it, saying you don't spend time with me. Come on, sweetheart, we're supposed to be going out. What are you doing? Sort of thing. It's like
Right.
like and family is important, guys. But if sacrifice comes with streaming, and it
Yeah.
happens. So my daily routine is when my daughter wakes up, my girlfriend is at work. She works 9 to 5. So I'm taking care of my child from 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 p.m. at night. My stream goes live at 5 when my girlfriend takes over and watches our daughter. And then from 5 till 8. So I'm live for 3 hours, maybe 3.5 hours at a max. Every stream. I do not stream for 8 hours. I do not stream for 10 hours. I can't do it, because my daughter
Right.
goes to bed. I'm loud, I'm energetic. So from
Yeah.
5 to 8, at 8 o'clock at night, I get off. It's my baby's bath time. I go bath my child. I go feed her and put her to bed. And then from 8:30 till my girlfriend falls asleep around 10:30, I will hang out and spend some quality time with my girlfriend. We'll watch Grey's Anatomy. We're watching right now because of the COVID. We're binge watching it. It's crazy, and I'm not even ashamed to say it that I'm actually addicted to it now. It's brilliant. But anyway, so from 10:30 onwards at night, I don't go to sleep, because I need to work on content.
Yep.
I need to still have a relevance. I need to have a presence on this in this industry. So from 10 p.m. until 3 4 a.m., I am working on, watching my VODs, making clips to post onto social media, all things like that. I need to create new content for my web shows that I do. I need to prepare those episodes. I need to make sure that everything is the way it should be, because lately I've noticed that in my VODs, my settings are too loud, because the audio settings that I have from web shows require to be louder, but I've not turned them back down for my next day stream. Those are things that I need to adjust. I need to amend. I need to create more artwork. I need to plan ahead for what's next in the future. I don't want to sit
Yeah.
comfortable with what I have just now. I've already got another 2 projects in my mind that will be starting next year to keep
Wow.
to keep me going.
Yeah.
It's, it's not healthy, because sometimes it does get a little bit too much, and you know, uh, that's when I need to take a step back too. I took a personal day off for the first time in my entire journey. I took a personal day off. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, just to
Yeah. I remember
disconnect.
that. I remember it being in your Discord, and I remember
Yeah,
seeing that. And I'm like, good. You know,
yeah,
good.
because you, you can get sucked into this too much, and then you forget, because I've got a family here too,
Right.
and
Right.
if I'm focusing too much onto that, I need to disconnect. I need to turn off everything. I didn't even enter my office. I wasn't allowed in. I just said no, I'm not getting in, and I'm taking a day off to disconnect. I will see you all in 2 days, sort of thing. And it's needed. You will need to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing that you said that's going to surprise people is as a mixer partner, right? And I know you got like 18,000 followers. At this point, you stream for 3 to 3.5 hours a day.
Yeah,
And the rest of the time is spent making sure that that 3.5 hours is as good as possible, as
yeah,
well as
yeah,
all the other stuff that you do. Right. And I think that goes back to, I think in the very first episode, I said it with Pink is you have to spend time working on your business, not just in it.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And again, when I watch you for your 3.5 hours, I mean, you're bringing it, right? Like you are bringing it for 3.5 hours and everything's clean and everything looks good. And I think people see that and they're like, wow. And then now I
Thanks,
think
man.
they're hearing just how much time goes into being able to pull off, because you're just one person, right?
Yeah,
To pull off a production like that, as well as, you know, building a presence, being engaging on social media, continuing to brand. I know you've got merch. I mean, my goodness, that is a lot, you know? Yep, there
Well,
it
here's the
is.
thing too. I'm a big believer of helping out up and coming streamers, because the same way that King Bailey Bomb, influenced me to do this, he didn't know that I was going to be a future mixer partner.
Right.
So what I think, me as a partner, I've got a responsibility to be an example, of of to other up and coming streamers who want to do this the same way that I was when I first came into streaming. And I'm a big believer of helping up and coming streamers, and
Yeah.
I do everything that I can. We talk stream all the time. I love talking stream, but I'm not going to feed you bullshit. I'm not going to feed you what you want to hear, like things like as long
Yeah.
as you have fun, you'll be successful, because that is not true. You can have fun for your entire stream. Does not mean you're going to be successful, because you're not. You need to
Yeah.
work for it.
And I think too, I think a lot of people will say that, right? A lot of people say that they want to help smaller streamers, but upon meeting us after the first episode, you reached out and said, "Hey, listen, I think I could help with some of the production stuff, and we're going to be making some changes here too, as we get some pieces in place for us." But for everybody that's watching, obviously, if you've been to previous episodes, you're going to notice a brand new overlay and a brand new graphic, and that was 100% courtesy of this man right here. So this is somebody who's not just going to say, "Hey, I love helping young streamer or new streamers." He's actually, I mean, he puts action to
Yeah,
what he says.
I enjoy doing it too. I enjoy doing it too, and I was talking to my business partner about this, like my good man, No Dog. He's my moderator in my chat. He's a very successful businessman. He's got consulting company too, and um, I enjoy doing it. See, if I'm at night doing my routine, and from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., I'll take 10, 15 minutes, and I'll just look around, and then when I seen that your channel, like this has got potential, because there are a lot of talented creators out there who are doing interviews, and I like the raw realism that you're bringing to this show, because you're talking about the importance, not just hearing about the stories of the content creators, but you're talking about the business itself, which is a very important thing in streaming. And sometimes I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough. So that's why
Yeah.
I was willing to help. I wanted to help, because I like I like the concept of the show.
Well, high praise coming from you, sir. Thank you for that.
I'm just a guy. Like, I'm just a guy, man. Like, but
Yeah.
another thing too, with the time that it takes, it means that the time that I've taken to work on my content, I've not been had any online classes to video editing. I've not had any online classes to do some Photoshop work, which means that I spend all of my time doing all of my visuals, all of my promotion posters, all of my overlays. And I hope that takes time to work and to dedicate the time. You need to sacrifice time to learn that, but it will
Yeah.
benefit you. So
Yeah.
that's an important thing, which means that I don't need to hire editors. I don't need to hire people to create posters for me, which saves money, which
Yeah.
hopefully I can put to better use to providing for my family.
Yeah. I think one of the things that people are going to realize when they go over and we can get a shout out to your channel now and go over there and check out all the stuff. And then you get your YouTube channel and just all the stuff that you've done and all the stuff that you continue to do in terms of just the variety of content. I mean, you stream, right? Like you
Yeah,
stream, like you game, but you also have a variety of different web shows. You've done like an interview series, like the Do You Really Know? And you'd bring on people and they would share aspects of their story. You've This game show is just awesome to watch,
yeah,
and the
that's I,
video production, just quality of the entire thing is amazing. um
thank you, man.
what do you think, what was the inspiration, or why did you want to do all those different things, all those different projects, when a lot of it, when almost everybody else on here is just pretty well content just gaming?
Well, going with what I said earlier on, the base foundation, I want structure in my stream. I want to think of it like a TV show. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, for the time that I spent on Mixer, I didn't really see a great deal of many people doing it. And if it
Mm-hmm.
was, I believed, and it's not to sound big headed or arrogant, but I believed that I could do something and make it better. And at the time when I'd done season one, the very first interview that I'd ever done, um, it was not too long after I had a baby girl. So I became a father, which meant that my time that I spend networking, creating friendships, meeting people, hanging out in streams, I couldn't do it anymore. So
Oh yeah.
I had to think of a project now to try and, you know, introduce myself to people. So I reached out to the people who I'd already made friends with and saying, listen, I'm wanting to throw an interview series together. Would you be interested? Excuse me. And then, you know, I was blessed with a great deal of interest. You know, King Billy Bomb was one of the first ones I reached out to because we've got a great friendship now. But back then, he's like, yeah, it's a great idea. Let's do it. So
Yeah.
everybody in season one um, helped launch that show, and then because of the names that were on it, season two was more appealing. And then
Mm-hmm.
season three was even more appealing. And then we
Yeah.
done giveaways and things like that in season three and season four. So it became a thing where Delta Street is getting a little bit more recognition through web shows and the production
Yeah.
value, the quality of it. And I'm like, good, great. After
Yeah.
the but it came to the point after the web shows were finished, like after we took a break after seasons, I didn't know what to do. No idea.
You know, and
But
you, I mean, you even call them seasons, right? Like
yeah,
truly the
structure.
true TV model.
Yeah,
And really, it's not even that you're treating your stream as a show. Like it's truly a channel, and the
yeah,
channel has different TV shows on it, and that lures. I mean, that brings in just a variety of different people, right? Because I don't play PUBG. Don't really watch PUBG, but I absolutely show up for those game shows. And if I miss it, I'm going over there on YouTube and I'm watching it just because it's just so much fun. You
yeah.
know, why did you choose the interview series? And then how did you come up with the idea later on of the game shows? I know the game shows came after
Well, the interview series started off, you know, I believe that every
that.
streamer has a story to tell, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't really want to watch a streamer and they're going to, you know, talk about themselves. They're never going to be able to talk about themselves in great detail unless the chat are
Right.
asking questions. So I thought, why not create a platform for to get a to get the light and truly know, because it's easy to watch a streamer and judge them and things and say shit about them, but you don't know anything about them. You do not
Yeah.
know anything about this person. So let's get a story. Let's get them on the show and hear their story. Ask questions like biggest regrets, what was your childhood like, all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
I just want to take a little second and talk about the success of the web show. I feel a great deal indebted to a mixer partner called Fenristics. Fenristics was supposed to be the second guest on season one. My first guest had been announced. My first guest unfortunately had to cancel, but it didn't tell me. So when I was ready to launch go live, I couldn't get in contact with this first
Oh
partner,
no.
and then I had to cancel the show. You know, the shows are on Mondays, every Monday at 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
GMT, and then Monday night, I messaged Fenristics. Can I know this is a pain in the arse. I'm sorry, but would you be able to do this your interview tomorrow? And then he says, not a problem, I'm there. So within 24 hours, we had season one saved. Boom. And the interview that he gave was more than what I was expecting. Before we went live, he spoke to me. We were talking. He's saying, I've done these a couple of times. Just make sure that when you conduct an interview, you know, don't interrupt them, give them time to speak, you know, and things like that. And I'm like, good to know. And he gave a hell of an interview, which set the tone high for that entire show. Do you
Yeah.
really know? And
Yeah.
so that's just a big shout out there. But for the game show, I believe in taking inspiration. I've got a very creative mind, and hopefully that if I can find an idea, I can mold it into something and run with it. I'll give it all of my attention that I can, and if it doesn't work, on to the next. But the inspiration from the game show came from watching Saturday Night TV with my girlfriends. That's all it came, and I says that's actually quite funny. Imagine that would be on Mixer. Boom.
Right.
I'm going to take
Right.
inspiration from that, inspiration from this show, and then merge it into something. You know, so that's why we've got like high low. That's like the Price is Right sort of thing. You know, and then
Yep.
we've got
Yep.
trivia, which is like Millionaire. We've got a section True or False, which is inspired by a show called Would I Lie to You, sort of thing. So we just mold it into one when it's not too long and it's different each show. So then we've got the Wild Wheel, which it just changes the game a little bit, takes points away, add points on, and just to keep it a
Yeah.
little bit spicy and humorous. But about the web show, I always make sure that both of my contestants, like my guests, the contestants are friends. You know, I would have an awkward time trying to put two partners who don't know each other, who don't know the chemistry.
Oh, sure.
So
Sure.
I make sure, because I still spend time on Mixer. When I'm working at night, I've got channels open and I'm getting in and out and seeing who's hanging out with who, and I make sure that my guests have good chemistry, because that's the selling point. That right
Oh,
there
100%.
is the chemistry that they have. So I've been very blessed. We were going to do season 5 in January after season 1 of the interview series. Sorry, after season 1 of the game show finished, I was going to start season 5 of my interview series, but then I thought a lot of people are doing interviews just now. A lot of people are doing very good interviews on Mixer.
Hmm.
I've just finished season 1 of my game show. How long is season 5 going to be? 2 months, and then wait another month for season 2 of the game show, which is about 3 months. So somebody within that 3 months could take that idea and run with it, and then my game show becomes irrelevant. And I thought, no, I'm choosing the game show. Everybody loves it. Everybody loved it, and I'm going to just launch it. And then 2 weeks later, the fastest I've ever produced something from season 1's game show finishing, we were live for season 2 3 weeks later, and it was all completely revamped.
Yeah. And even from like a business strategy standpoint, I think you alluded to some of it in terms of like a big part of it is it substitutes your inability to network the traditional way of just like bouncing around different streams just because you don't have time
Yeah,
anymore. And so it allows you to network, it allows you to get your name out there, get your brand out there, because again, every single time you bring on two partners, right, to your channel,
yeah,
right,
exactly.
that also brings their audiences because they want to see, these two go head to head kind of in a game show. Likewise with the interview series. What do you feel like those shows have also done outside of just networking? What have they done for you on like the business side, right? Because they're, for everybody watching this, I want them to have a, okay, that's nice, great idea to create different types of content, but what's the upside, what's the potential benefit on a business standpoint of doing something like that?
Well, on a business standpoint, it keeps my presence alive because, like I said,
Yep.
I can only go live on Mixer, so I'm for 3 hours, right? And then I don't have a great deal of time at night because my only free time for dedication to the content is when I'm at night. It's at night time and I'm working on the thing. So I will keep streams open, but I'm not as active as what I used to be before I was a father. And I wouldn't change it for the world, by the way. I'm absolutely blessed to have what I have. But these web shows, the work that I put in off camera is the attraction to my content right now because I do it at a good level. I believe I'm not arrogant. I'm not an arrogant person, but I do believe in my content. So I think that having this is a good way to keep my presence alive. Whether it's in whether it's two partners getting involved and they tell another two partners is great, or these people see the clips on social media,
Yeah.
because lately everybody on social media is loving getting involved. I actually posted a tweet out about getting the mixed community's face on the game show, not partnered, but like non-partners, anybody to comment. All they had to do was post a selfie on the Twitter thread, and I would get their face, edit their face, and put it onto the game show as one of the segments. But I'll for the best thing about me, the best thing about it for me personally is I've had the pleasure of working with so many amazing people already, and it's ridiculous. Like these, we sit and talk before we go live, and then we sit and chill and talk after we go live. We just talk about everything and anything. And everybody that's been on the game show, they're great people, and it's been a blessing to be able to work with them. And
Hmm.
that's the most personal thing for me because
Yeah.
I got to sit and personally talk to Stormbreaker, Gagod, Psycho Plays, just to name a
100%.
few.
Yeah, I mean, I think I share that sentiment in terms of it's just I love having these conversations. I love just talking to people about what they do. It's a big part of what I do, kind of in my day to day life.
Yeah.
And it's there's always so many good lessons, right? I mean, I don't think there's never going to be a show that we have on here where I don't learn something new. Where I'm just like, wow, that's an interesting take. That's an interesting way to do things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think just even it probably in a way probably challenges you as well, right? Because you're having pre-show conversations with these guys, you're having post-show conversations with these guys, and great opportunity to pick their brains.
Oh
You've
yeah,
had
definitely.
some
Yeah.
some monster streams on there, right? And learn, and that's what this show's really been about too, is let's bring on people who have found some success. What have you learned, some do's and some don'ts, and then there's some big takeaways from there. Do you feel like there's just anything that stood out for you from just having conversations with those individuals that's really impacted you?
Oh, of course. And actually, it amazes me as well how how in tuned. Like for instance, Dad Got Game is an absolute fantastic streamer, very entertaining, and I love his accent too. He's got a great voice. But he's we were talking after the show, after we stopped the stream, we passed on the host. We were still sitting, chilling, talking away, and the we were just sitting talking about streaming. We were talking about the direction we're going to go. We want to go and things like that. And he's talking about sponsorships, not partnerships, but sponsorships. And I'm like, dude, you've got a really good business mindset. And then we just started talking business. Then we started talking personal, and
Yep.
it's you learn. Like, so I would never have thought about the things that Dad Got Game was telling me. So that opens up like potential for me to write down in my notepad that I'm going to this is an avenue that I may have to like try and just uh, explore a little bit down the line.
Yeah.
But
In-
hearing stories, hearing mistakes people have made, and hearing the places, the things they're going to go for, whether it's sponsorships or projects and things like that too. It's everything. It's brilliant.
yeah. You take a really interesting approach to what the role of a streamer is. And I'll let you kind of use it in your own words. I mean, what do you feel like? What's the job, in your opinion, right? In your very experienced opinion, what's the job of a streamer?
Entertain. That's pretty much it. Entertain. There's not one way to be a successful streamer. Just to
Hmm.
clarify that, there is not one way. You do not. There is multiple ways you can go. You can go with gameplay, but if you're going to expect people to watch you play gameplay, you have got to be in the top like 5% in the world. Like
Right.
you've got Gagod, Thermos Cuddy, you've got great players in here whose key attraction is their gameplay, because viewers want to watch people play their favorite games, who are the best players play their games, and
Yeah.
that is one what will get you success. But you have
Yeah.
got to be good. If you're not that great at games, you have got to have a personality. You got to have charisma and give people a reason to come back to your channel. Be genuine. Pay attention to your chat. Take time to talk to your community. You've got to be engaging. I'm mediocre gameplay. I don't care. I
Sure.
go live for the conversation, to talk to chat. I look at my chat more than what I do in my game. So if I have 55 bad games at PUBG on a stream, but the chat show up and they're talking away, I don't have a bad stream. I have an amazing stream, and
Right.
I walk off with a smile. Just because I didn't get a win doesn't make it a
Right.
bad stream, sort of thing. So that's another way. So there is not one way to be a successful streamer. There is multiple ways to be a successful streamer. You can have all the beautiful overlays in the world. You can have a gimmick in the world. Like Doctor Disrespect. It's like Psycho Plays, man. Like these creators are absolutely fantastic. You can have the best visuals. You can have overlays that people attract to, that they resonate to. It's like, that is cool. I would love that. That's amazing. I
Yeah.
could watch that again. And I think that the overall thing is to entertain. If you can make somebody's time in your channel worth it and give them a reason to come back, that is
Yeah.
it. Because we're entertainers. We're here to put smiles on people's faces. That's why I go
Yeah.
live anyway, personally.
I think, and I want everybody to, get over to this guy's channel and just watch, right? Because there's a difference between what, like, thinking that you're entertaining, and then there's what this guy's doing, right? Because I mean, you go in there and for 3 hours, and when I go into your channel, and one of the biggest reasons why I wanted you to come on the show is I get lost in the entertainment, right? Like, I sit down and watch, and I get sucked in, and I get drawn in,
I
right?
talk too much. I know I talk too much.
But more so, it's just entertaining, right? And I do think that there's just a lot of people that they want to come on here and play games, and I think you're right. I think that, like, if you're playing Apex and you're a predator, you can probably get away
Yeah.
with just playing games, right? Because you are in that top
And if you
upper
are
tier
good,
echelon.
other streamers will see that you are good and they will want
Right.
to collaborate with you. So that's
Right.
helpful. That's good.
Right.
But
That.
gameplay
Yep.
alone is not going to get you
Yep.
viewership. So if you're starting out a stream, if you're looking to grow and you're not networking, you're not spending time on a platform you want to grow on, and
Yeah.
you're just relying on your gameplay when you go live, that's not going
Yeah.
to be enough, especially for partnership, let alone grow.
Yeah. And one of the things you're really good at is there's no dead time. That's the one thing that, like, watching your stuff, it is truly like watching a TV show, because there's no dead time, right? Even in the game ends, the PUBG game ends, and the next game begins. You're flashing commercials, you're having conversations, you're throwing up little mini games, you're doing all this stuff, And you think about it, and it's like, well, that's how they do it on TV, right? They
Yeah.
just don't cut to a blank screen and just be like, be back in a minute 30 for
Yeah.
your
Yeah. Yeah.
programming, right? There's just always something happening. And that's how somebody who can, you are getting the most out of those 3 to 3.5 hours, because it's just, and you're putting in the work on the front end to be able to do that. But there is zero dead time in that
Yeah.
entire 3.5 hours. At no point is it just, well, we're waiting for another game. Here
Yeah,
we are.
like so like the game is not the game is my background. Whatever it is that's behind me is not what the selling point of the stream is. I believe that,
Mm,
I'm a very confident person. I could talk about everything and anything. A lot of people are different. A lot of people might get hesitate to be able to strike up conversation. I genuinely just talk about everything and anything, the most stupid shit that you could probably think of to make you laugh, or my talk about my day, just talk about the most random stuff, or things that viewers can relate to. I'm a father, so then say we had 15 parents out of like X amount of viewers, say we had 15 people in the chat who had kids, and then we can then, boom, that's another thing we could talk about. What do your kids do? How crazy are they? What's the funniest things they've done? Like things like that. And that's just, I listen to my chat, and
yeah.
that's an important thing, because I could tell you the majority of my chat's first names. I could tell you about their jobs. I could tell you, what's going on in their lives, because we talk to
Yeah.
them every day, and I talk to them, but I'll also listen to them. I remember, and that is why I do not have dead air. I always talk to them.
Yeah.
Um, another key thing as well. I don't do it, but for anybody who is looking to start out streaming, and you have a hard time talking to your chat, Psycho Plays does this. I think I'm sure it was Psycho Plays says this: draw two eyes on your camera. So see your camera at each side. You've got a lens here. Draw two eyes at each side of it, because it'll look like you're looking at the audience, and you'll be more inclined to look down at your camera and up. When you're
Hmm.
talking to your audience. So that's a good way to remember that you're talking to somebody, and keep the chat going. Keep it going. Like you talk to your chat like you're in the same room as a chat as a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. And who else is really good at connecting with people and talking to them and learning their story and remembering? Bartenders, right? And
Bartenders.
so again, I mean, it's just a transferability of
Don't get me
skills,
wrong.
right?
So I've had my experiences where people just depress the life at me in a shift, man. Like
Right.
the local cheeky lass. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had that. Oh, my man's broke my heart again. It's like, for fuck's sake. No, but no. Like we
Right.
we we,
Yeah.
we do. We're unpaid therapists.
I mean, that is the definition of a bartender, right? I feel
Pretty
like that's
much.
part of the job description, is the cheap
Absolutely.
therapist, right?
And that's where you start.
Um,
That's where you
the other
start
thing
drinking as
too, I
well
think
to deal with it.
the other thing too, I think you said that's really unique is you treat the game like it's honestly secondary, like it's the background, right? It's like, all
Yeah.
right, now we're gonna jump in. It's like, similar to a group of people playing a board game, right? Like people didn't come over for the board game; they came over for the conversation, they came over for the connection, they came over to hang out.
Yeah.
And the
Exactly.
board game is, oh, it's your turn, right? It's your turn to go, right? That's the feel that you really take with what you're doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Everybody's different though. Like I said, there's
Hmm.
not
Oh
one.
yeah.
There's not that. We're not professing, ladies and gents, that this is the only way to stream.
Hmm.
Right. So don't hope you guys don't get confused by
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
like
I
to
mean, I
talk.
think we've had, at this point, you're our fourth guest, and it's four people who do it differently,
Yeah.
and they're all successful. And I think again, the lesson is you've identified what makes you good at this, and what makes you just the version of yourself that you are, and how does that relate to streaming, right? How can you
Yeah.
bring that to streaming? And this is the version, and then now your stream is a reflection of that, right? Like your stream is truly a reflection of you, right? Very
Yeah.
high energy, very entertaining, right? There's kind of the camaraderie of it, right? You're really good at building a community. Yeah, no, I like that a lot.
Well, the stream, I'm not any different off stream. You can ask my girlfriend and my family. I'm literally not anything different off stream than what I am on stream. Just when I'm not live, you just don't see me, but I'm there doing doing stupid shit,
You know?
talking a lot, and just having just hello, being me.
Yep.
That's it's very natural for me to be able to talk
Yeah.
and do carry out my stream.
You will go back to this idea that you stream for 3 to 3.5 hours, and if that's what you're going to do, you've really found ways to maximize the content that you create. Because I think one weakness of what I see a lot of people do here on Mixer is, people will put 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours of work, of really hard work into a stream, right?
Yeah.
And they stream and then it goes to the VOD. And I don't know how many, I mean, I've never watched somebody's VOD. Maybe that's a thing that people do. I don't really do a ton of it.
Yeah, I don't really watch VODs either.
Like I just don't see a lot of people watching VODs. And so essentially you've just spent 6, 7, 8 hours working hard on a stream, and all that content just essentially just goes away. The only value of the content that you've just created is immediately to that immediate audience, right? And to me, that seems like a heck of a lot of work and not as much of a return as you can get out of that content. Like you put so much time and so much effort, right? And I know the effort that goes into this little rinky dink show that we're doing over here, right? Like just all the prep, the execution, the editing and the videos that go up later. Um, and it would really suck to have a really good conversation like this or have a really good moment on a stream and it only benefit the people that immediately see it. So
Yeah.
what are some ways that you feel like you really maximize the 3 to 3.5 hours so that way it just doesn't get lost in the VOD?
Well, I'm the same as you. I don't really watch VODs. I would never, because this is not YouTube. This is live, like a live streaming service. So
Right.
that's
Right.
primarily where the audience gravitates towards live stream. If something amazing happens in a VOD and I'd like to go back to it, then I will. But like say I miss a tournament win, the last round of a tournament, I'll go and watch the VODs, and it's different here because if it's not, it's to watch a repeat episode because you would never watch somebody talking to their chat when it was in the past. It's not live, so that's why like I wouldn't watch VODs. I like to think that my VODs, I would never expect anybody to watch my VOD, like me playing games, but my web shows are something that people might be interested in to watch. It might be worth their time checking out after it's finished,
Yeah.
and then let them go to my channel because say after I finish a game show and somebody at work missed it, they come home. Oh man, I missed the show. I'll go watch the VOD. Because on the VOD, you still see the live chat at that time. You still see the chat as the show goes along. So you still get to immerse yourself in it a little bit. And I think the
Right.
content that I've created, that still works for me and it still gets people to my channel. So say I post great episode today, I post that on Twitter, yo, that VOD's available. Let's go. That's why I put it on YouTube as well because YouTube is more of a service that you're watching pre-recorded videos.
Right.
They're not live, but they can still work for you. Can still help you out, and if you solve the algorithm and things like that out to get more discoverability on there,
Yeah.
that can bring people from the YouTube uh, platform who like like the show to your Mixer channel.
100%. And I think too, I mean, think like you're owning a business here, right? And I have a couple businesses, you have your business. I guess my question to everybody watching would be, why would you put so much time into creating creating work, right? Creating something that's a representation of your business. And then it's only on the bot for like 15 days on the front page. And then it just keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed to the bottom.
Yeah,
To me, that doesn't seem like a lot of value. That to me sounds like, as a business owner, that sounds really inefficient, right? Whereas taking that little step to take it to YouTube, to put clips up on social media, or putting clips up on other platforms, what that does, especially on YouTube, is that creates content that I call being evergreen, right? And I call it evergreen content because an evergreen tree is always growing, right? Even in the winter, an evergreen tree is always growing. It's always working for you. And
yeah,
so when you put a piece of content up on YouTube, it's always there. And it always has the chance to work for you. It always has a chance to grab people from elsewhere and bring them, to your service, to your
yeah, exactly.
channel.
Yeah,
And that's so important, right? Because especially early on, and especially when we don't have an infinite amount of time, right? So we have got to maximize the time that we do have, right? And it's no different than the stuff that I do. Like if I create some sort of webinar on for my business, or I go out and I give some sort of talk, I have them record it, right? Because I've just spent a couple hours preparing that talk for those, that whether it's parents or coaches or high level athletes, whatever it is, I've just spent all this time preparing that talk.
yeah,
Why would I not record that? Why would I not, and to then be used later? Right. And again, it's, these big YouTubers and these, content creators across all platforms, even on Instagram. I mean, it's, you create a one or two posts, one or two pieces of really high quality content a week. After a year, you have 100, right?
Yeah.
And that's just one or two, right? And you have to be able to understand that when you put so much time and effort and energy into your craft, you've got to maximize, you've got to squeeze as much value out of that content as you can. Otherwise you're just being inefficient, especially when you're just starting out, and especially with any new business, the last thing that you can be is inefficient.
Yeah. That's I can agree with that too, because like, see, you see a lot of people doing stream tutorials or like tutorials about streaming, and they post
Yeah.
that, like, one of their very first video about posting, they'll post on YouTube is about, setting up a bot. Like, that was their first video, but then a year
Mhm.
later they've grown, and then everybody who's seen their new video will go through their history and watch all the rest of their videos, and then that works for the person who posted it. So yeah,
Yeah.
still available.
Yeah. Do you feel, have you, let me ask you this, have you seen it already where somebody's seen a video on YouTube and has kind of caught it, watched a few, and then come over to your channel and said, "Hey, man, I saw this over on YouTube, and I had to come check you out."
I've not seen. I've well, not to my knowledge. I don't know if it has or
Sure,
not. I've not had any confirmation of that, but I
sure.
definitely have had people from the Mixer community go over and watch the VODs, like that uploaded
Yes.
episodes there. So, and getting, I'm growing on YouTube now. So now the more
Mm-hmm.
I grow on YouTube, so
Yes.
my Mixer channel helps, feed my YouTube
Yes. Yes.
discoverability, and then eventually that'll then feed my Mixer community, my Mixer discoverability. So it's working to,
Yeah.
and it's in tandem. It's working together.
Yeah, and essentially what you're talking about and what this whole conversation is about is just a very basic business principle, right? Like if
Yeah.
if you want to grow any business, right, you have to, it's called a funnel, right? And I'm sure we've heard a ton about these funnels. Any sort of like online business guru is always talking about their funnel, right? You got to get people into your funnel. You got to get people into your funnel. Well, what it actually means is, what makes a streamer successful? At the very bottom, you have a viewer, right? And you want to get as many of those viewers as you can, right?
Yeah.
Probably the first layer above that is getting people to hit the follow button, so that way they can see your account, or that way they can see your when you go live and when your content is available. Then you have to start thinking about, what are the layers above that, right? Because some people will then go, well, maybe I'll try to get on a few auto hosts or whatever it is, and then maybe, and then that's as far as they go. And so you have to think about, when I started my business, I had to figure out, okay, how many clients do I need to see a week? How much work do I need to do in a week to where I could go, where I could pay for everything and just take care of me, and everything gets handled, right? And all the pressure of money is off. Well, that was a very finite number. Okay. The next layer and so again, you think about partnership. Okay. In your game or variety of games, how many average viewers do you need to get to be able to be successful? Right.
Yep.
That's going to translate to a certain number of followers, right? So you're probably going to average a certain follower to viewer ratio, right? Well, then now, what are the different ways that you can start getting people as far down into that funnel as you can? And most people will just stop at like an auto host, or will do a little bit of networking, or they'll get rated, some sort of within Mixer, right? Sort of mechanism, right? Or sort of driving force within Mixer.
Yeah.
Well, what if you take it outside of Mixer? Now that's where we start talking about social media. Now that's where we start talking about YouTube, because you want your funnel to be as big and as wide as you can. Because think
Can
about it
never
like a
have a big
referral
enough
network.
funnel.
What's that?
You can never have a big enough funnel.
You can't, because at the end of the day, even for me in my business right now, like there's a lot of people that are struggling, and I've been able to hold pretty stable because my funnel, my referral network of all the relationships that I've built, is big enough to continue to drip out enough clients for me to be okay. Right. And especially when we start talking about this business, if you want to show Mixer that you're a stable asset, that you're a stable business, that's why they care about social media.
Yeah.
That's why they care about what you're doing on other platforms, because it shows that you're stable, right? It shows that you can grow. And as well as that's going to be reliable growth as well, because it's stable. So now with you, in your case, on this channel, you don't just have gaming, right? You've expanded your funnel into people who like web shows or
Yeah.
interviews, right? Or specifically interviews. You've expanded it to people who like game shows. Then you've taken that a step further. Now you're posting those clips on social media. That expands the funnel. Now we're posting it on YouTube, and you have all these streams of people that then funnel down to hit that follow button, and then they come back, and then we see the average number of
Yeah,
viewers
it's
come
definitely
up.
something that's taken effect too. Also lately, it's very easy to scroll through your Twitter, see videos that you like, hit a heart button, but it's another thing to actually make the effort and go follow that person's channel whose video
Hmm.
you just liked. And like the last few days, a lot of people have come by the stream, and they've liked the show, and they've been more than welcomed, and their presence in my channel has been greatly appreciated. And I'd like to think that that's something that can continue, and
Yeah,
who knows, down the line there may be another project that comes out that new people will like as well. And
yeah,
with regards to like the funnel, not only are communities and viewers going to be looking at you, but also people who you could partner with would be looking at you. So for
yeah.
instance, right now, the next thing I would like, I'm going to try and pursue would be an Elgato partnership. They're not
Mm,
taking any just now, but it's definitely something that I believe in. I'm not going to partner with something I don't believe in just to sell it. I'm not like that. I want to partner with somebody whose product I believe in, whose product I use. And I
yeah,
think Elgato, with this game show, this is all done with the Elgato Stream Deck, and I don't know if they thought this would have been possible. So
yeah,
I'm showcasing their product and what it can do. I'm doing that to not only my community, but the communities of the guests of each show. So that's a business beneficial situation right there that can help me
yeah.
in my journey and be successful, hopefully.
We don't have this on the show plan, but I think we stumbled upon a really important conversation in terms of sponsorships, right? And how to pursue sponsorships, but then also being very selective about the sponsorships that you bring to basically your audience in your community, right?
Yeah.
Because you just said, I don't want to bring something on that I don't believe in. Why do you feel like that's important?
Because I'm a person, I'm a guy.
Yeah.
As great as it would be to look like a race car, that is a term that was part of the conversation with Dad Got Game. Looking like a race car with all these sponsorships, but how many do you believe in? So I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to be the guy who tries to say use code Delta for this product, this product, this product. No,
Right.
I would like to sell the products who have benefited my journey personally. Like, so we've got the Elgato Stream Deck here. We've got the 4K camera, Cam Link, products that I use that are beneficial for me that I can safely vouch for firsthand
Yeah.
and say this is a beneficial product for my channel.
I
Have
think a lot of people will rush early on and just take kind of the first partnership or the first affiliate that like
Yeah.
comes to it.
And
And I
that's
think, yeah,
exciting. That is an exciting thing
it
because it gives
is.
you a sense of value, and I get that because I've been guilty of it before. Like I've like when I wanted to, get this on my.
What were you saying? So gamer subs?
Yeah, Gamer Subs. That's the Gamer Subs is the only partnership that I have at the moment. I'm going for a Streamlets one as well. That's like the interactive experience
Hmm.
on for the stream for the audience to get with. But for right now, I don't want to be the guy shoving everything down the audience's throat. I'm not here, to be that streamer. I want to
Yeah.
be the streamer who helps up and coming streamers. I want to be the streamer who has like who it feels weird, right? When I say this, it's crazy that people like they look up to me and they tell me that they're inspired by me, like because I like helping people.
Yeah.
We're just genuine people. Streamers are not.
Hmm.
Do not idolize a streamer. Do not put them on a pedestal. Do not just agree with them because that's who you're watching on screen. Streamers can be wrong. So
Yeah.
I just genuine. I'd love helping other people out, and I would never start pushing everything down their throat just for the sake of a sale. If
Right. Right.
the Elgato benefits me, then that's something I would be passionate about going working with Elgato.
Very nice. And everything that we kind of talked about to this point, one of the topics that you had really brought up that struck me kind of in the pre-show is you use the term future proofing, right? And future proofing your business. And I think that's so important. Why don't you lead us off? What do you mean when you say future proofing your business?
Well, streaming this industry in right now, we are not guaranteed anything. You're not owed anything. Nobody owes you nothing. You're not guaranteed a fucking thing. You've got to work for it. And I mean work, you discipline yourself, all the things we've spoke about so far, you put all that into practice, and then you see it, you set yourself a goal, you go for it. And then when you get partnered, that's not the end, that is a beginning.
Mm,
And then you will start to feel pressure, because when you're not partnered, you've got it easy. There is no pressure, there is no expectations to you. But when you get
right.
partnered, you are under contract. You have got to perform, you've got to show up, and then your stream will be compared to other partners. You will be in, competition, if you will. You will have to do better. You have to stand out, and there are a lot of amazing content creators out there who, are shining. How do you set yourself aside from them? How do you outdo them, if you will?
Yeah.
So the second that you become irrelevant in this business is when like, that's when you start to fail. You have to stay relevant, and it's a hard truth, but it is a truth. And
Yeah.
so for future proofing, things like platform loyalty, you need to be careful with that. That can be a risky thing. A lot of,
What do you
God
mean by
forbid,
platform loyalty?
staying loyal to, to Twitch, Mixer, Facebook, whatever, for the one
Sure.
platform. Because um I think in the pre-show, I said it as, say I was a restaurant in Scotland, and
Yep.
you're in the States, you have never heard of me.
Hmm.
How do you know? So how do I make you? I need to get a bigger presence, make a chain of restaurants where it goes big and goes to the States. So say I, nobody on Twitch knows One Delta Street. Nobody on Facebook Lives knows One Delta Street. How do I change that? What do I do? I need to future proof. I need to get ready for a situation that may arise that I cannot control, where I have to be able to pick up where I left off on another platform, and, and not burn out, and not be irrelevant. So this is why we're doing YouTube. We're uploading things on
Yes.
YouTube. We're going to start doing YouTube series too, just to build up a presence, because that's a very strong factor where you can take direct your YouTube audience to a different place if something happens. Well, in my situation, if something happened to Mixer, um, where would I go? What would I do? I would have to go
100%.
to another place, and hopefully, I've already built up a place where I can go and take my community with me.
Yeah.
I'll struggle for a long time, but I won't give
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, that's so smart, because I think if there's one thing that the situation that we're all in right now with this virus, I think if there's one thing that this whole situation should teach us is, if you think that just one revenue stream is going to keep you safe, whether it's your business, whether it's your personal life, and you can have the most stable, and we've seen some of the most stable jobs just,
Yep.
I mean, get furloughed, go by the wayside. And again, wasn't in anybody's control. Nobody really saw it coming, but yet here we are.
Yeah, we're here.
And essentially, we apply that lesson to what you just said about your business. Let's say tomorrow Mixer goes dark. What happens, right? And again, it doesn't matter how likely that scenario is, because again, like with this global pandemic, how likely was that?
Yeah,
Was
we
that?
just don't know.
We just don't
Nobody knows.
know.
We just don't know.
And what you're essentially saying is, I need to build a brand. I need to build a presence both in Mixer and outside of Mixer, right? So
Yeah.
while still maintaining loyalty to Mixer with where I am now, but I need to have a brand. I need to have a presence, right? Because if everything that I am is all in this one little Mixer basket, you know, a lot of people would say, well, that's risky to like go start a YouTube channel, or that's risky to, put stuff out there on social media. Like, you might get ridiculed. You might, it's hard to put yourself out there and to expose yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And to take feedback from the outside world, from a place outside of Mixer. Right. And people will say that's risky. I think my message would be, it's risky if you don't.
Yeah, it's risky if you don't, because I don't want to be known as One Delta Street on Mixer. I want to be known
Right.
as One Delta Street. I want, that's the
Yep.
goal. And
Yeah.
I believe in time, good few years
Yep.
down the line, that will happen. And
Yeah. And
wait
that's,
for
if
it.
you look at the people that are doing it at the highest level of this industry,
Yeah,
that's where they are. Right. And again, that takes, and I think again, that goes back to just the amount of time and effort that they've put in. In my mind, I think you got to think about it like a moat, right? Like your castle, like you got this little castle, and that's your business, that's your life. Right.
yep,
And the size of your moat to protect you is 100% based on how many either in your life, if you've got one income stream, do you have some other stuff? Do you have some other stuff to keep you safe in your business? Right? How big's your moat?
Yeah.
And going on YouTube, that expands your moat a little bit, right? Going on social media, that expands your moat a little bit. And it just keeps you safe. It keeps you protected in the event that you have to make a pretty big, albeit unfortunate move. And it's
Yeah.
not going to be a direct correlation. Like you said, there's going to be a big, probably a big dip, but you can survive it, right?
Yeah.
Like my businesses have all taken a hit too during this time, but we can survive it
And
because I
that's the
have
thing. And it's
enough other areas
business.
coming in.
Yeah, and it's business, and you're going to have to think of one more revenue stream, one more stream of revenue, rather than
Yep.
just your embers or your subs or your donations.
Yes.
You're going to have to think of other ways to survive. Say you had a partnership, you'd sponsorship, and then
Yep.
your streaming platform went down. What do? Do you start becoming a bit more presence on Twitter? Do you start promoting the
Yep.
products on Instagram? Do you get your merch up to date and try and make
Yes.
sales through there to get you by that rough time?
Yes.
But I believe in Mixer. I love Mixer, and it's been my home.
Mhm.
And I'm always going to have faith in it and do what I can for the platform and
Yeah.
flourish in it. Hopefully,
Yeah. And again, you're talking about that loyalty, right? And you want to stay loyal, but you should protect yourself,
yeah, exactly.
right? That's fantastic, man. That was really, really good. It is time for the final four. So
The
every
final
show,
four.
the final four. So every show, we end the show with these four questions. They're meant to challenge the streamer, maybe bring about some topics that we didn't touch on. Some of them we did, and we'll just kind of, make some highlights of those points that we hit. Are you ready, Delta?
Always.
All right. If you could go back and change one decision you've made in your streaming career, what would it be?
Actually, I wouldn't change a thing
Yeah.
because I'm a firm believer in every journey in business or just if streaming is your hobby, you have got to make your mistakes.
Yep.
You're never going to get one streamer who's not made a mistake, not one.
Sure.
And you learn from them. So, say for instance, your first time at a bar job, your bar shift, you picked up the wrong glass to pour a pint of ale. Something. It's
Oh
silly,
yeah.
but it's the
Yep.
same practice, same
Or
practice.
you dropped a glass in the ice bin, it broke, and now we got to
Oh
change
mate,
out the. Yeah, it's
it's
just
the
the
worst.
cardinal sin of bartending, right?
Yeah, do not do it. But you learn from it. That's the thing.
Right.
You learn from it. I used to be the guy, and I'll admit it. I don't hope I'm not promoting this. Do not ever fucking do this. Uh, I used to be the guy that would go in and leave subtle hints in people's streams just to let everybody know that I was a streamer. This is way before. This is back when it was like the time that I did spend on Beam. Like I would
Yeah.
say, "Bye now. I'm going to go and stream. I'll be back later." Or me and my friend had a good stream, or like things like that. Subtle things. Do not talk about your stream in anybody's chat, guys. That's bad work etiquette. Nobody wants it. Nobody will follow you. So please do not do that. But if you wanted to make a mistake and then learn from it, do it. But don't do
Right.
it. But no, I wouldn't change a thing for me personally. I've learned my mistakes. I've learned from my mistakes, and I've made sure that I'm never make them again.
Love it. If you were to restart your stream tomorrow from scratch, what's the first thing that you'd do?
So this is one that I don't get. That I'm not really sure on that question. So when you say restart your stream, is that
Everything from scratch. You
zero
started
zero?
over,
Right. Okay.
right?
I thought
You started completely over, right? Day one, 0 followers. Well, one because you followed yourself,
Mhm.
right? Yep, we got one. We
Uh,
got one on the board.
that's it.
What's
That's
the
me.
first thing that you do?
That's
You got
I've
no
made it.
equipment,
I've followed
nothing.
myself. The first thing that I would do then is if I started with 0 followers, just made a fresh account, is I would network. I would not even stream for about a month, maybe 2 months.
Really?
I would write a plan. I would spend time in a lot of people's channels because that's how you make your introduction. You socialize on the platform you want to be, that you want to be a part of. So I would have to know what communities I want to be involved with, what streamers follower games I want to be involved with, who do I talk to? I don't want to be the guy spending the only time they're spending on Mixer just streaming because you're not going to get followers that way. You're not going to get viewers that way. I would spend 2 months networking on the platform, hanging out in channels regularly as often as I can. And another thing too, I would encourage everybody to do this. When you go into a streamer's channel, do not just solely direct your conversation to the streamer. Go
Yep.
to everybody, talk to everybody you can at them, ask them what's up, because the people watching that streamer are the people you're going to be talking to on a regular basis when you go and hang out, and then that's the same people that'll be like, "Yo, I seen him in King Bailey Bomb stream. I'm going to go and watch Delta. He was talking to me in that stream the other day. He
Yeah.
streams. I'm going to go and hang out. So there you go. You've already made friendships in that, because the people you're talking to, they're people. They're not names and numbers on the screen. Their lives. They're people. They like the same content that you're enjoying.
Right.
Then
Right.
that's the people you're going to be, essentially creating the relationship with, who will come by, support you. You can go and
Yeah.
support them if you want to. But that's what I would do. I would spend the time that I first
Man,
two
that's so
months
smart.
first
I
two
love
months
that answer.
introducing my presence rather than
Yeah.
just going live and expecting my presence to be known.
Right. I mean, because it gives you such a base. Like it's almost like now your stream is now you've done that for 2 months.
Yeah.
Day one of month 3, you're going around being like, hey, I think I'm going to start streaming. And you have all these people are like, you should totally do it. We'll bring you a
Yeah.
host. And just, it's like a launch, right? So instead of just launching with nothing, with no audience, everybody wants an audience. Well, that's a great way to build an audience before you launch your product.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's like imagine Michael Jordan holding a wine mixer and you went to it, but you spoke to nobody but Michael Jordan for the entire 3 hours.
That's fair.
Yep. So, but if you went, you spoke to everybody else. Yes, you made so many more connections. You've put people around you, that you could probably collaborate with and make a friendship with.
If you had the power to change one thing about the streaming industry, what would it be? What would you like to see even adjusted, in the smallest thing?
In the industry, there's a lot of things wrong with the industry, but that's what makes the industry what it is. It's
Sure.
not an easy thing to break through. There's a lot of things you need to fight up against. There's a lot of things I like. There's a lot of things I don't like. The ones that really affect me just now, that kind of racks, that is a lot culture, is the auto hosts and things like that. That's it kills interactivity. We've got from a business perspective, it's not good just always seeing auto host. Like me personally, I'm very grateful that somebody has trusted my channel with their channel to be on that auto host list, and but it's gotten to the point now where that's like all it is. It's easy to support somebody with not being there, and it's all circumstantial, and I'm not bashing anybody, but um it's easier to support somebody and lurk and then have, say, 15 people came from the auto host of one person, and then 20 came from the other auto host. That's you get 35 people not there in your channel, which then inflates your numbers. And it's hard for me right now to measure my organic community, because you don't know who's there, who's not. And it can be very daunting too to a content creator who's used to having a busy chat and big numbers, and you're trying your hardest to talk to the chat, but nobody's there to reply. But you've got 115 viewers, so that's something that I would change just on this platform just now. So for me, if there's anything I would change, it would be get rid of Sparks. I don't think Sparks do anything, but for content creators now, I think there's a lot of culture that's building here, and there could be a potential subculture that would improve revenue for partners on Mixer.
Yeah.
Other platforms I've spent time on. I've been subbed before I've even followed. Like 2 seconds after I followed, I get gifted a sub, because subculture is huge on other platforms. But we've got Sparks that are no longer monetary value. They do serve a small purpose, but when somebody drops 2 million Sparks, that leaves a mindset of, I've already contributed to support you,
Yes.
but it's not doesn't support me and my family, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't keep me doing this. And I'm not saying I'm not grateful, because I'm very grateful that somebody comes into my channel, let alone
Right. Right.
do that. But as a business standpoint, we cannot survive on Sparks. So if we had no Sparks, and subs would be more gifted subs and bigger quantities and things like that, that's what I would change on Mixer and auto hosts.
Do you feel like everybody should have subs, like on Twitch?
Oh, the open monetization you talk, like the
Yeah, because on Twitch you don't need to be a partner, right? I mean, I don't even know what partnership means on Twitch, because anybody can sub to your channel.
Yeah, you get an affiliate thing on Mixer. I do not think that everybody should have a sub button, because we're not ready for it yet. We're still a lot of growing to do. I don't even think, and it's no disrespect to anybody who has it, but open monetization yet, that's ruined the platform for me personally. I believe that's a thing that's made the platform a little bit more difficult for partners, because a lot of their communities, which this is kind of introduced the LUT culture, because partners have great viewership. They had great viewership. They had active chats. Chats were always booming. But then their viewers got a taste. They heard news that they can get they can stream and make a quick buck doing it. And if it was me,
Okay.
if I heard that I was not partnered and I could stream and make money, shit, I would go and do the exact same thing. But for partners, the ratio between streamers and viewers has now changed. So
And you saw that switch as soon as, I mean, basically the open monetization on Mixer was Embers, right? You realized
yeah,
that
because
anybody could
viewers
receive Embers. Yeah.
yeah, viewers turn to embers and like by all means go for it because for all I know the next ninja could be a non-partner but making
Yeah.
embers, so we don't know. I'm not bashing it, I'm not saying that, I'm saying
No, I think it's a fair assessment though. You
yeah.
know, like, yeah, I mean, if I'm sitting here and I'm watching and I'm just a viewer on the platform and they open monetize to where I can make money too now,
Yeah,
I'm
you'd be
probably going
fucking
to be
doing it
tempted.
every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to be tempted to make a run at it too without having, I mean, in a way, do you think that's probably contributed to like the lack of quality
What do you mean the lack of quality?
in
No,
terms of
it's
just like content, the lack of quality content on here? Because I mean, just like everybody can do it. And do you feel like if the open monetization was taken away, that fewer people would just kind of take a half-baked approach at it, like
I
a
don't know,
half-wit?
but when you see streamers, they're just you can see the ones that are doing it just for a quick buck,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they've got now receiving embers, and their donation link is the only thing in their bio, like things like that, and
yeah,
it's like you're not ready, you're not doing it for the right reasons. Don't ever go into streaming just for money because you'll
right,
be solely disappointed.
right.
My overall, I'll work around 80 plus hours a week. I'm always thinking about streaming. I'm always doing it. I never switch off, and I make way below minimum wage. And
Yeah,
I've been a partner for a year, so don't expect money, guys. If you're ever
yeah. I mean, I
streaming,
think, yeah, that's a really interesting conversation because while the open monetization provides more opportunity, right, that opportunity can be exploited and can actually hurt an industry in a way,
it was a
right?
combination. I think at the time, and we signed Ninja, and then we signed Shroud, and then that backfired because at that time the platform is still small. We do not have a great deal of viewership right now compared to other platforms. So introducing something that drastically changed the viewer ratio with the streamer ratio to the same. We have the exact same amount of streamers as on another platform than Twitch does. We've got the same amount of streamers, but we don't have the same amount of viewers because it's all changed because everybody wants
Yeah.
a piece of the embers.
Oops. Yeah. What do you think sets apart, and this, you're probably pretty well equipped to answer this because you do help so many smaller streamers. What do you think sets apart successful streamers from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
Realistically, and don't be offended, guys, because like I said, I'm not going to sell you bullshit. I will be completely honest with you, and it's not to criticize you, but they didn't. However, if they didn't want it enough, they
Yeah.
just did not want it enough. They were not willing to, and I understand it's all circumstantial. Work gets in the way, job gets in the way,
Right.
and streaming might just not be for you, and that might not be for those people, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's not me saying that you're not giving enough effort. I understand it's circumstantial, but for the ones who are doing it and they're not growing and they're not willing to change, they're not willing to adapt, you don't want it enough because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of work that goes into streaming. You have to sacrifice. You'll have to give up your weekends out with your friends. You have to sacrifice going to the normal shit that you do in your daily routine, and you have to get rid of it.
Yeah.
To an extent because your time will be required to work in your channel when you're not live. No discipline. You need to discipline yourself, want it, make the change, make the sacrifice, and you need to do research. I cannot stress that enough. Like I said earlier, I did not start streaming with a degree in Photoshop and video editing. I spent countless hours. I could probably like it's ridiculous watching YouTube tutorials and then
Yeah.
failing it and then doing it again.
I think that's really good advice because essentially you're saying that it's easy to want something. It's easy to want to be really successful, right?
Yeah,
And I think what you're saying, I think it's fair. I think it really comes down to, if you say that you want something, there's going to come a time when that means that you need to either adjust, adapt. You always have to constantly go. You have to be willing to do the things to achieve the
yeah.
success that you say that you want. Because if you're not willing to do that, then you don't, as you said, you don't really want it.
Yeah, you need to be open to change. Like
Yeah.
you need to want it enough to give up your weekends. To give up your daily routine. To discipline yourself and sit at home, research. It might get boring. It might get, is this worth it? But like if you're passionate about it and you want it
Yeah.
bad enough, it will be worth it.